A boy grows up in a small Indian house with no TV, no fridge, no car. Years later, he sits at the top of Google, leading billions of people every day. What turned Sundar Pichai from an ordinary child into one of the most powerful CEOs in the world? Stay with me, because hidden in his story are financial lessons that can change your life. Some people are born rich, others are born powerful. Sundar Pichai was born with neither. So how did he climb from the dusty streets of Chennai to Silicon Valley's tallest offices? It wasn't magic, it wasn't luck, it was mindset. And today, his story holds 3 timeless financial lessons you can use to build your own empire. In the bustling, sun-drenched city of Chennai, India, a story of immense ambition began in the most humble of settings. Here, in a modest 2-room apartment shared between 4 people, a future titan of technology was taking his first steps. Sundar Pichai lived with his father, Raghunatha, his mother, Lakshmi, and his younger brother, Srinivasan. Their world was confined to these 2 rooms, but Sundar's mind was already exploring universes beyond its walls. Life was a constant lesson in resourcefulness. His father, an electrical engineer at the British conglomerate GEC, was the family's sole breadwinner, earning a modest salary that barely covered the necessities. Luxuries like a television, a car, or even a refrigerator were distant dreams. The family waited years just to buy a scooter. Getting a telephone line wasn't a simple transaction. It was a multi-year quest on a long waiting list. But what the Pichai household lacked in material wealth, it more than made up for in intellectual richness. Dinner table conversations weren't about what they didn't have. They were about how things worked. Sundar would listen, captivated, as his father described the engineering challenges of his day, planting the first seeds of technological fascination in his son's mind. This environment cultivated something far more valuable than money: a relentless, unquenchable curiosity. Sundar didn't just accept the world as it was, he constantly asked why and how. He wasn't just interested in the final product, he was obsessed with the process, the design, the intricate dance of components that made something function. His parents, recognizing this spark, never dismissed his questions. Instead, they fueled his inquisitive nature, teaching him that the greatest resource he would ever have was his own mind. This unique mental wiring manifested in extraordinary ways. While other children in the neighborhood spent their afternoons playing cricket, Sundar had a different kind of game. He discovered he had a near-photographic memory for numbers. It started as a curiosity, but soon he could recall every single phone number he had ever dialed. This wasn't just a party trick, it was his brain recognizing and organizing data, finding patterns where others saw chaos. But he wasn't just a prodigy with numbers. He was also a leader on the field, captaining his high school cricket team with strategic acumen. His academic journey was equally stellar, as he excelled in his studies, driven by an insatiable hunger to learn. Then, one day, after years on the waiting list, a device arrived that would change the course of his life. His father brought home a beige rotary phone. To the rest of the family, it was a long-awaited convenience. To 12-year-old Sundar, it was a miracle. He was mesmerized by the mechanical whir of the dial, the satisfying click as it returned to its position. He realized that each spin was an instruction, a piece of data sent down a wire. That simple analog device was his first real-world encounter with a network, a system that could connect his small home to the vast world outside. It was the moment a theoretical fascination became a tangible passion. And in that moment, his perspective shifted forever. Where others saw a simple tool for making calls, Sundar saw the blueprint for the future. He saw technology not as a static object, but as a dynamic force with the power to connect, to inform, and to empower. He began to imagine a world where this connectivity wasn't limited to voices over a wire, but could encompass ideas, images, and all of human knowledge. The rotary phone wasn't just a phone. It was a promise of what was to come. This brings us to the first crucial lesson from his journey, a principle that separates the mindset of scarcity from the mindset of abundance. Financial lesson number 1. It's not what you have, it's how you see it. The poor see a new phone as an expense, a drain on their resources. The wealthy see it as an opportunity, a tool for connection, learning, and growth. Sundar's family lived with financial constraints, but he never adopted a mindset of lack. He didn't complain about the television he didn't have. He maximized the resources he did have, his own intellect, fueled by his father's wisdom and the arrival of a single telephone. He treated his curiosity as capital and his education as an investment. That is the foundational first step to building true, lasting wealth. Transforming your perspective from what is missing to what can be created. Sundar's intellect was his primary asset, and he leveraged it with relentless determination. In India, getting into the Indian Institute of Technology, or IIT, is a national obsession where millions compete for a few thousand spots. Sundar not only got in, he excelled. This achievement alone would have secured a comfortable life, but his ambition was global. His performance earned him a prestigious scholarship to Stanford University, the heart of Silicon Valley. It was a dream opportunity, a ticket to a different world, but one that came with a staggering price tag the scholarship didn't fully cover. Here, the story reveals the true foundation of Sundar's success: his family's profound sacrifice. The cost of the plane ticket alone was more than his father's monthly salary. To pay for it, his father withdrew his entire life savings, every rupee he had saved over a lifetime of hard work. Imagine that moment, handing over everything you own, betting it all on your son's future in a foreign land. It wasn't just money. It was an act of unconditional faith. Sundar wasn't just carrying his own dreams on that flight. He was carrying the weight of his family's entire fortune and their belief in him. Arriving in California was a profound culture shock. The land of abundance was a stark contrast to his modest upbringing. While peers discussed weekend trips, Sundar meticulously calculated every dollar. He couldn't afford to call home regularly, a painful reality before free international video calls. He bought second-hand items, from his backpack to his cookware. He lived frugally not as a choice, but as a necessity, a way to honor his family's immense sacrifice. But this period of austerity wasn't about deprivation, it was about focus. By stripping away distractions, Sundar poured every ounce of his energy into his true purpose at Stanford, acquiring knowledge. He was at the epicenter of the tech revolution, absorbing it all, building the intellectual framework and mental toughness that would later allow him to create products used by billions. This brings us to a profound financial lesson. Financial lesson number 2. True wealth is built on sacrifice, not comfort. Our culture screams at us to pursue instant gratification. The new phone, the designer clothes, the expensive car, often financed by debt that mortgages our future. Sundar's story offers a powerful alternative: delayed gratification. Instead of chasing comfort, he chased competence. He invested in the one asset nobody could take from him, his own mind. This is an investment available to all of us. It's buying a book instead of a latte, taking an online course instead of a weekend getaway, spending an hour learning a new skill instead of scrolling. These small daily sacrifices compound over time, building a foundation of knowledge and discipline that pays dividends for life. Sundar Pichai's journey from that economy flight to the CEO's office was the direct result of choosing the long road of sacrifice. The wealth was simply the outcome of a decision made decades earlier to invest in himself. In 2004, Sundar Pichai walked through the doors of a company that was already changing the world, Google. He joined as a product manager, a mid-level position in a sea of brilliant, ambitious minds. The Googleplex was a playground for geniuses, a place where big personalities and radical ideas competed for attention. In this high-stakes environment, Sundar was different. He wasn't the loudest person in the room, he didn't have the most radical ideas, and he certainly wasn't the flashiest. His superpower was quieter, but far more potent. He was relentlessly, obsessively consistent. While many of his peers chased promotions and the spotlight, Sundar obsessed over the user and the product. He adopted a philosophy of deep listening and quiet execution. He understood that in a company built by engineers, the best argument isn't a loud voice, but a working prototype. This approach would soon be put to the ultimate test. At the time, Microsoft's Internet Explorer was the undisputed king of the web. Inside Google, many leaders, including then CEO Eric Schmidt, believed that building their own browser was a foolish and expensive distraction. They were a search company, not a software company. But Sundar saw a threat. He knew that whoever controlled the browser controlled the gateway to the internet. So he didn't argue in boardrooms. Instead, he quietly persuaded a small group of engineers to build a better browser. He shielded them, empowered them, and together they created a prototype that was faster, simpler, and more secure than anything on the market. When he finally demonstrated it to the founders, the product spoke for itself. The project was greenlit. Today, Google Chrome isn't just a browser, it's the backbone of the modern internet, used by billions of people and securing Google's dominance for the next decade. The monumental success of Chrome catapulted Sundar into Google's inner circle. He was handed responsibility for the company's most critical consumer products. He took charge of Gmail and Google Drive, transforming them into the collaborative suite we rely on today. Then came his biggest challenge yet: Android. He took over the world's largest mobile operating system and was tasked with guiding its future. He focused on making it accessible and affordable, spearheading the Android One initiative to bring the next billion users online. With each success, his reputation grew. Not as a fiery visionary, but as a calm, empathetic leader who could navigate complex technical and political landscapes. He became Larry Page's most trusted lieutenant, the person who could translate vision into execution. His ascent wasn't a dramatic leap, it was a steady, methodical climb, built on a foundation of trust and an unparalleled track record of delivering results. And then, in 2015, the inevitable happened. As Google restructured into its new parent company, Alphabet, a new CEO was needed for the core Google business. There was only one name on the list: the quiet boy from Chennai, who had studied by candlelight and slept in the living room of a two-room house, was named the Chief Executive Officer of Google. It was a testament to a decade of quiet, relentless work. Financial lesson number 3. Sundar Pichai's journey reveals a profound truth about wealth and success in the modern world. The world doesn't reward noise, it rewards value. In an age of social media influencers and personal branding, it's easy to believe that attention is the most valuable currency. But attention is fleeting, value is permanent. Sundar's story teaches us that you don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You don't need to have the most followers. You need to create something that helps people, that solves a problem, that makes someone's life easier, more productive, or more joyful. Think about it. Chrome succeeded not because of a massive marketing campaign, but because it was a fundamentally better product. It delivered value. The money, the market share, the promotions, they were all a consequence of that value. This is a principle you can apply to your own life, no matter your field. Are you a writer? Write things that people need to read. A coder? Build tools that people need to use. A manager? Create an environment where people can do their best work. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-valuable-for-life strategy. Sundar spent over a decade meticulously laying bricks of value, one successful project at a time. Each brick made his foundation stronger, until the entire structure was undeniable. So stop chasing the spotlight and start building your value stack. Obsess over your craft. Focus on the end user, solve the problem in front of you better than anyone else. Because money, influence, and success don't follow the loudest voice. They follow the hands that build. Sundar Pichai's story is not just about tech, it's about finance, mindset, and persistence. He proved that you can start with nothing, you can face rejection and sacrifice. But with vision, patience, and value, you can build an empire. Think about it. Sundar didn't inherit wealth, he created it. And that means so can you. My friend, your background does not define your future. Your excuses won't build wealth. Your persistence will. Sundar Pichai turned a rotary phone into a billion-dollar vision. What will you turn your struggles into? This is Mind Motives. If Sundar's story gave you hope, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with a friend chasing their dream, and subscribe, because here, we don't just tell stories. We tell the secrets of financial freedom. And remember this: the world never remembers those who quit halfway. It only remembers those who turn their challenges into change.